I'm saying if you're going to mandate, let's say, that state agencies provide or make sure that they do these security audits, is this the only, is your group really the only reasonable solution, or could they go outside to the private sector? Are there groups?
Oh, no, absolutely. And they do. What happens is, though, this becomes a cost issue. So if you contract with an organization, you're going to be paying for that service whether you need it or not. It's almost like an insurance, right? But if we come in, we do two things. First of all, we have security clearances, so we're trusted with the information rather than having a low bid contractor come in and have access to it. We have national capabilities, so a lot of there's a very select contractors that'll have the tools that we have. But more importantly is that we can be there. We're 24/7, 365. So we can be there immediately. And just like any other national or state emergency, you can bring contractors in as part of the longer-term recovery effort or to do specific technical things that need to get done as needed. So in the interest of trying to keep the cost under control, I think there's a good template for how this would be, and we're trying to normalize this with the way that we do all of our other emergency response operations.
The three teams that you mentioned, are they going to be under whose control are they under? The cyber team, the U.S. cyber teams, I guess you would refer to them as, and
yes.
Whose control are they under, and what are they going to be utilized for, and can they help you ramp up your effort?
Well, it's perfect. If you go back to that Spectrum one, they're really under the governor's control, and they'll be under the authority. They'll be under the inherent authorities as assigned by the governor. We'll have, just as we do with our counter drug operation, where there's a lot of law enforcement and other agencies support of it. It's quite extensible. We have directives and policy, and it's integrated with all the other entities and state governments so that it's a unified effort, and we're working together to be as responsive as we can be. Right now we currently have one team. We hope to grow to 3 teams because then we can take care of the steady state requirement between Northern and Southern California.
I actually have some more questions, but I do want to welcome Mr. Bro, and I think you have a question, right?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I apologize for being late. The County of Orange was here, and the Chairman of the Supervisors in the county at 2 o'clock, so hard to be in 2 places at the same time, but I apologize for being late. My question is actually for General Beavers. Yes. And first, thank you all for your service. I really appreciate what you do for our state.
Thank you.
I'm an old Cobra mechanic from the Army. Could you give me an honest assessment of the state of your aircraft? Are they in need of upgrades? Is there anything you need with your aircraft fleet?
Yes, certainly. Our Black Hawk fleet is aging. Some Black Hawks down in Los Alamitos have been in the Army longer than I've been in the Army, and that's a long time. We're working very, very hard right now with our active component partners, the Congress, the administration, and others to try to either get an A model to L model conversion or get straight Mike model UH-60s off the factory line. That's a challenge for our Black Hawk fleet. We have brand new Lakotas, which is a kind of a lightweight American Eurocopter civilian version of a Kiowa Warrior, essentially. We fly those as well. They're nearly brand new. We also just received F-model Chinooks, so our entire Chinook fleet will be outfitted with the latest and greatest F-model capabilities, and that is as cutting edge as it gets. So we're very, very strong in some areas and very, very weak in others. In the Air Guard, we just converted from F-16 to F-15s since we fly the Airspace Control Alert mission, flying over water. Better to have an aircraft with 2 engines than 1. Also has better air supremacy capability than an F-16 does. We fly MQ-9 Reapers from the 163rd Reconnaissance Wing. We just recently converted from MQ-1 Predators to MQ-9 Reapers, and that transition is almost done. We've completely recapitalized our airlift wing down in Port Hueneme to C-130Js. The rescue wing up in in Mountain View has a ways to go. They fly extraordinarily old aircraft, probably the oldest aircraft I've ever seen. There's one MC-130P at the 120th Rescue Wing that was on the Sante raid in Vietnam, and we are still flying that aircraft today. And they do great things with it. So it really depends on the frame, on what specific capability and specific aircraft. But we're challenged, hugely challenged in areas and great in others.
Okay. Well, let us know, because it's something of interest to me. I know CAL FIRE's in a similar situation, aging aircraft, and it's something I'd like to work on. So thank you very much.
Really appreciate that, too. Thank you.
And, sir, unlike a lot of states, we have terrain that goes up to 14,000 feet, and so the performance is really critical. We have the full spectrum of capability that can deal with that full range.
Certainly, Assemblymember Mathis.
All right. Back to the cyber. As demand for these services increases, I mean, you've already talked about setting up a third team. How quickly are you able to increase staff and meet new demands with training, budget, all of that piece?
Well, as General Beavers mentioned earlier, we just got word this morning, literally, that we were selected for a first-round assignment. This is nationwide, of an Army National Guard cyber protection team. And so that's going to give us 39 of those Title 32 billets. But if you see, the training funding resources stops right there at that border. So what we really need is that sustainable state funding to take a portion of those people to support the cybersecurity, the cyber network defense team mission in state, and then the rest of them, we can activate them on emergency state active duty, just like we would do for firefighting or any other emergency, to plus up and grow on a moment's notice for incident response, or it could be because we have the Olympics or Super Bowl or anything else.
Do we already have those soldiers trained?
Oh yes, they're all well, because they're all in industry. These guys are. We've got guys and gals, by the way, who call us every day saying, "When are you guys going to have a position for me to join and get into?" Because they don't want to be a aircraft mechanic; they want to be a cybersecurity professional. So these billets go a long way on the federal side of securing that, and now we just have to work the state piece.
Yeah.
A couple of things with the vulnerabilities that these reports that you do. Are they reported to anybody else besides the agency that's affected?
Yeah, so there's a separate reporting mechanism right now that's required by the state administration manual, and those first is the report that goes to CHP so that they can do the criminal investigation, and then in sequence, it has to get reported if it's above a certain threshold, like 500 records compromised, to the State Attorney General's office.
Vulnerability assessments.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When you're doing the audit.
Oh, so yes. So what happens with that is it's the agency's responsibility to report. That's really how the whole system is set up right now. We're the support function. Department of Technology is the standards and the audit function, if you will.
So the reports they are supposed to go to Department of Technology?
What happens is the Department of Technology establishes the standards that are expected in order for them to be part of the CA.gov enterprise, and then the CIOs and the CISOs report the compliance, and then it's subject to a validation by the Department of Technology. So, and it's really important that we maintain that support relationship, because they are willing to communicate with us about a lot of things, because as relationship built on trust, and then the compliance part is done through another aspect of the state government.
So maybe a little awkward question, but based on your experience so far, how vulnerable are these state agencies?
I would say that I can't tell you how vulnerable the agencies we haven't looked at are. We've made a measured improvement on the agencies that actively work with us, and every one of the agencies we've gone to wants us to come back. We just have to figure out how to do it with sustainable funding. This is a whole government approach, and requires a unified effort. So we will continue to work with them and build that trust, and we learn from them just as they learn from us. it's really critical to enable the other aspect that was not being done right now, which is the information sharing aspect. And the President talked about this at the summit. Reporting and information sharing are two different things, so that we need a mechanism in the state to rapidly disseminate information so the other agencies can be prepared to defend themselves or take measures to protect data. Because as you see in the news, a lot of these compromises, they get into the network, they stay embedded in your network, and they'll do an organized attack on several entities at one time. So if we find evidence of intrusion at one place, we will suspect that it's in multiple places, but we need to have a rapid means of being able to disseminate that and share that information vertically through the national construct that the President is setting up.
So there really is no reporting right now for these type of incidents, but we do see that at least public safety, the police and sheriffs, they do have data sharing going on already.
Yeah, and the reporting, there is reporting, but it's done the way that
data sharing, I guess I should
my
say.
parents would have done it, not the way that the millennials would do it. So that's we need time-sensitive information sharing. Right now, the information sharing is done through reporting. Sometimes you have up to 10 days to file a report to U.S. CERT, and that's not nearly good enough for California.
Okay, so and then hopefully the last question for me: what percent of the agencies have you done these security assessments on already?
Well, I can just tell you right now we've done about an aggregate of about 40 departments and agencies, and it's kind of a difficult question because I really don't know how much is out there. But they vary in all different scales, size-wise. I will tell you this, though. I should have mentioned this earlier because if you want to know, how do you know that what we do is good? We comply with the NIST standards that's set by the federal government. U.S. Cyber Command validates our capability. They just inspected us in December, and we got the highest score of any National Guard in the nation. DHS comes in and validates every test that we do for those state agencies. So all those things that are on the left side of that column, DHS is certified that what we do is as good or better than what they do. And then of course we get feedback from our customers. So it's an evolutionary threat. It requires an evolutionary capability and definitely a unified effort across state government.
Great, thank you. Mr. Mathis?
Just to clarify, you're the only organization that has those services, period, correct?
We're the only independent, trusted organization that can go in and do a third-party look on these entities to make sure that all that stuff that, if you say on those vulnerabilities, that we're reducing that risk. So think of us like your CPA.
So it's key to make sure you guys have the ability to do so.
Absolutely it is. And I tell you, things that we can do, because our full-time job is defense, our team is going down. We're signing non-disclosure agreements with the developers of a lot of these state-of-the-art tools in Silicon Valley, and they get to go behind those companies' green doors to see the advanced level, how to use these tools to the ninja level. So, we can do that because that's our time and focus. The agencies are trying to provide critical services to their folks, not develop ninjas in their IT departments. So this is a good example of what we can do together.
Sounds like an extraordinary service, and hopefully we will make sure that all state agencies address their vulnerabilities and critical infrastructure. I mean, when you're talking about LAX and ports, and but it's very important that they're able to address their issues too. So, do we have anything else? Boy, thank you very much. That was great information.
Yeah, thank you. The Assembly actually deserves a lot of credit for kickstarting this program under the previous administration, so thank you.
Well, you guys have really taken it and run. So we have public comments. Does anybody else have anything to say? Seeing none. All right, well, I want to thank everybody for coming today and my committee members who stuck it out, and we are adjourning this meeting.